Hello everyone, it's Amanda and I am back with another layout using the Dream Quest Clique Kit monthly kit. So for this layout, I knew that I wanted to scrapbook this picture of American Pharoah, who, if you watch the Derby at all, you know that she won the Triple Crown. So very exciting for me, especially because I am a Kentucky girl and I grew up loving the Derby and everything Derby related. And so the fact that she was from Kentucky, it was just a really awesome thing to get to watch and just a really, I don't know, historical thing for Kentuckians, I guess. Um, so really cool. But it was the first time in 37 years that a horse had won the Triple Crown. And that just made it even more special. So very neat. So here I'm taking some white gesso and I put way too much, but it works. And I'm sorry, I totally just got distracted. I'm just smearing it all over this creamy colored cardstock. And I did it because I left it really textured and I wanted it to be really textured. I wanted it to be textured because I like the kind of stucco look behind it that it gave. So I started off using my heat gun and then I realized this is going to take a lot longer to dry than I thought. So I ended up leaving it dry overnight and then I come back to it the next day. And so what I'm doing now is I'm taking some Tim Holtz Distress ink and I think I'm using Evergreen Bough and hold on, I'll go look. Give me 2 seconds. Yep, Fossilized Amber, which is one of his new colors. And I just splattered it all over the background there. I really liked the way that it looked. It gave it a very, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, earthy look to it. I'm trying to find the layout so I can talk about it in more detail. It's in my stash here. I've got all my layouts laid out so that I can do like a month in review at the end of the month. But yeah, so I just stick it all over the place and then I dry it and I love the way that it looks. So you can see me just rolling it up, trying to straighten it out there. All right, so you can see the card there, and then I had this really cool postcard what am I trying to say? Oh my goodness. I do not usually have this hard of a time talking. I don't know it's storming outside and I think it's kind of distracting me a little bit. That and I can hear my husband listening to a show. So yeah. Anyway, so not much is happening right now. Anyway, I'm not sure what I'm doing. Oh, I know what I'm doing. Duh. Okay, so I grabbed, you saw those 3 pattern papers that I had at the beginning. I had the one with the feathers on it, the blue skyish paper, and then that geometric-y, mustardy colored yellow paper. And I took it over to my sewing machine and I'm sewing a perimeter border stitch around all of them. So that's what I'm doing, and I guess I could have cut all this out so that you weren't just sitting here staring at my desk. But that's what I'm doing because I wanted some gold accents because my title is going to be using that niche font that came in the kit, and I'm probably not saying that right at all, so forgive me if I'm not. But I wanted some more gold accents for that. So I should be coming back anytime now. Of course, I remember that my sewing machine quit. Like my needle broke, so I had to change my needle, and then I ran out of bobbin, so I had to fix the bobbin and re-thread my bobbin because I don't have extras just laying around like I should. So it took me a lot longer than it should have, but that's okay. I got it done, and I really like the way it looks at the turnout. So this layout really wasn't hard. I mean, it didn't take me a long time to do. I think it took me 38 minutes to complete, and that's with all the sewing catastrophes that I had. And then waiting for, that doesn't include dry time for the gesso, but I was sleeping then, so I don't really count that. But so I come back, I've got my paper sewn, and I'm inking up all the edges with my regular ink that I always use. And then I will just layer them on top of each other. I think this layout came together so quickly because the papers coordinated so well with the photo, and I was just really looking forward to doing it. So I kind of had an idea of what I wanted from the get-go, and it just made it a lot simpler. So as I'm layering these papers down, I'm making sure that I don't cover up all of my really cool texture that's behind it, because that would make me very sad. And I'm already hormonal enough as it is, so I don't need to be even more sad. So there's that postcard. And then I just stuck my photo right down on top so that you could still see the word postcard, the words, and then I'm pulling up my edges to my paper. All right, so I'm going to go through, I'm moving all my papers out of the way so that I can get a better look at my my embellishments. That card that says great things are done by a series of small things brought together would have been perfect for this layout, but I just couldn't make it work. And I thought about handwriting that on there, and I didn't, and I might still go back and add that somewhere to it because I think it's perfect for this layout because, I mean, goodness gracious, that horse worked its tail off. And, not just the horse, but the jockey and the trainers and everyone that had anything to do with the horse. And it just really is, a great example of each small step that you take can build up to be something really great. And I don't know, I wanted to use it, but you can see there as I was playing around with it, it just wasn't going to work. So I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to put my title, and I realized that the best place for it, because that font is so big, is right along the edge of that pattern paper, the feather pattern paper. And so I just used some packaging. In hindsight, this was a horrible idea because I thought since it had kind of a waxy texture that it would work like wax paper because I'm out of it. But it didn't. And so it ended up pulling off a lot of the adhesive as I was trying to get it back onto the layout, and I had to glue some of them down. But that's okay. I mean, it works out. So now that I see that that's working there, I'm going to grab my T-roller and just make sure that I get the title lined up really straight. You can see me there struggling to get it off of that bag. I've pulled that arrow out from the die cuts or the vellum shapes and die cuts, and I know I'm going to use it. And I pulled out a tag and a couple other things that will form an embellishment cluster to the right of the title and then down on the bottom right hand corner of the photo. I feel like I'm wearing that shirt in a lot of videos lately, but to be quite honest, I have outgrown all of my clothes except for like some of my larger t-shirts, and so I'm living in the same t-shirts, and like mostly they're all Landon's. That one's not, but I'm wearing a lot of Landon's t-shirts because they're bigger and they fit my stomach, and nothing else really does. So I've just been noticing as I've been doing some voiceovers to try to get caught up that I'm wearing the same clothes, and I rarely ever get time to do 2 layouts in a day. So I can tell that I'm repeating my clothing. So I use some adhesive and some dimensional adhesive, and I pop up that tag, and then I stick down that arrow. I wish I would have sewn it down, but I didn't, and that's okay too. It would have been a nice touch, but I just wasn't thinking about it at the time. And then there was this awesome arrow that said go, and so I put that there. And then this flare said adventure awaits, and I don't know, I love that. And then the tag that says my journey. And that's another reason why whenever I said that this came together so quickly is because there were so many of these embellishments that just really added to the story that I was wanting to tell, the story behind the horse. So it made it super simple. I pulled that card back out because I wanted to use it so bad, but it didn't work out. And then I think I find, yep, that's that circular star shape, and so I stick that there. And I know that I want to put 37 somewhere. And I started off with the black, but the black just clashed. It didn't work. And I left it there for a little bit, and then I ended up taking it off because there just wasn't enough black in the rest of the layout. I had inked everything in brown with the golds and everything else. The black just really stood out like a sore thumb. So I go to my thicker stash, and I'm looking for gold. And I actually find a different thicker than the one that I end up using, but it was too big, and I don't remember if I show it or not. But see, where did I go? Yeah. So then I come back and I've got these. I must have not shown it, but I've got these little smaller gold stickers, and so I just put 37 there. And at this point, I am done with the actual layout. I will grab my date stamp and I'll stamp the date of the race, which was June 6th, up at the top a couple times. And I'm doing my my journaling down at the bottom, just talking about what a proud moment it was to watch American Pharoah cross the finish line. And then I put hashtag my old Kentucky home because I don't know. I mean, I'm definitely, this is my home, but it's not my home, if you know what I mean. Like, Kentucky is always going to be my home, and hopefully one day we'll make it back down there. And I've just never felt like Ohio was where I was going to plant my roots. But my girls are, it's what they know is home, and it's my husband's home, so I'm trying to be content with where I am. But I was researching the date because I didn't want to get it wrong. That's what I was doing there. And then I'm just going to stamp it in that same brown ink so that it stays, it matches the rest. So yeah, so I've got some close-ups here at the end so you can see some of that awesome texture. And I will see you soon with another layout. I hope you're having a great day. Happy scrapping. Bye.